حور العين تناديني فدعيني أماه دعيني لتبكي دموعك يا أمي عن دربي لا لن تثنيني حور العين تناديني فدعيني أماه دعيني لتبكي دموعك يا أمي عن دربي لا لن تثنيني.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Let's make dua inshallah we'll start. Allahumma ameen. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم صل على سيدنا وشفيعنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم يا حي يا قيوم يا حي يا قيوم. اللهم ربنا زدنا علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ورزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Inshallah, we're going to continue on our topic, Islam and Muslims in the modern world. And we have discussed quite a number of issues just on the topic itself and its definition as to the rights that Muslims have and privilege like every other human being to enjoy the modern world, and the contributions that the Muslims made for the development of the modern world and the Islamic contribution in general for the past probably 800 something years before this era took in. And we also look at the Western view of the modern world, and we also look at how the Muslims view the modern world. Now let's look at some of the challenges that the Muslim faces in the modern world and some of the suggested solutions that we can look at. Now these are not all the solutions, and there may be many other type of solutions or avenues for solutions that Muslims can look at to benefit themselves in the challenges that they will face in an environment like this. And if we ask ourselves whether or not Muslims face challenges in this current time that we live in, without a doubt we will tell ourselves that that is the case, that Muslims do face challenges. And any Muslims who say they don't face any challenge, well then something really had to be wrong. But the fact is that we really do face challenges. And they are based on the religious and Islamic issues, and amongst them the key of all is Islamic knowledge in the modern world. And you say, why that being the key problem? Why Islamic knowledge is one of the issues in this current time of the Muslim Ummah. That is why we face all the challenges that we are facing today. Islamic knowledge, as we look at it, is the basis of our existence. It is our main core of survival as Muslims. Our living in Islam and our being Muslims is based on the principles of Islam. And what is Islam? How do we understand this Islam and implement this Islam? So there are two core values that we look at when it comes to Islam and its knowledge for deen. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with the Quran and also with the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And these two we're going to expound on and understand how important it is that those of us, when we look at it, we will ponder and think, well, really and truly, whether or not this is one of our main weaknesses in the world today. So the knowledge of Islam is for all of mankind and for all times. That is without a doubt, and without saying anything otherwise, we know that Islamic knowledge is that knowledge about Allah and His deen, His way of life for all of mankind. And that's not for today alone, but until the day of Qiyamah, until the day of judgment will come, until the end of times. Then that knowledge of this deen is now lifted off and the world is finished. There is no need for this knowledge anymore because there is no creation on the face of the earth for it. Because there is a new era called Judgment Day and the placing towards paradise and hell. But as long as the world exists in its present state and the Ummah exists, that knowledge is for all of mankind and all of time. this is the position of the Quran and the Sunnah. Many a times this term is only used to refer to religious studies. And we ask ourselves many times, we think, what is religious studies? Sometimes we send our children to maktab, we ourselves come to our class, and we learn a few things, and we learn about Islam like this. And this, no doubt, is probably very important to us. But what really constitutes religious studies as a Muslim? Religious studies is a part of our life, which entails all of our life. It entails all of our life, as most would recognize that this is what Islam teaches us. But the Islamic perspective is that knowledge governs our lives in its entirety. Everything that we do, Islam has a say in it. And that's our core principle as Muslims. We don't think to ourselves that this knowledge is only isolated to a particular time when we come to the masjid and we just learn about salat, or we learn to read Quran, and we think that is what Islam is about. No, Islam governs every aspect of our life. And therefore this knowledge today must translate itself into the many different challenges that we face. And for example, we will be discussing some aspects of the difficulties and challenges that a person may face in family life. What does Islam have to say about family life, and what are the challenges that we have in family life today? Those issues are part that we see cries upon the Muslim Ummah today in dealing with even relationship in families. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us concerning Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Quran. He says in Surah Al-Anbiya, he says, وَمَا رُسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, that he had not sent Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam except as a mercy for all of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As a mercy for the creation of all of Allah's creation. That mercy extends itself to what? What is this mercy about? What is the mercy? What did the messenger came with that brought mercy with it? Is it just his being a human being that brought that mercy? Or is it what he gave to us? And that is the Quran in its entirety, as a human being would practice this deen, who would live this life. That was his essence of living, that he gave us something as a mercy, as a means of benefit to us. And sometimes in our lives, we have people who will come, we are facing challenges and difficulties, and they give us something to help us along, and that is like a mercy towards us, that is like a benefit to us. Sometimes we are in need of something, and we say, boy, you come in the real best time. We don't know where you come from, but you come in the real time. I really need your help now. But subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when the whole world was going through trial and tribulations, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. I have not sent you except as a mercy to all of mankind, that you will become a benefit for all of mankind, those who will adopt your way. Your way means what you follow from the Quran and Sunnah, what was given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to live by. So this way of thinking was one that gave the people an objective in their life. They understand that there's a purpose in life. There's something that we have to live for. And sometimes today we forget what we're living for. We forget what we're living for. What is the purpose of life? And gave them a reference point for solving all of the problems which would face them. Society today, how do we solve our problems as Muslims? If we are not focused on what we are living for, then how are we going to solve our problems? If you don't know what you're here for, and you're facing issues and challenges, what will be your criterion you will use to solve your problems? And that is a very interesting point that one must ponder and think about. Why we're here and how you're going to really solve this problem of what we face in society today. So when previously they had proceeded in life with no direction, no ability to progress, bringing reactionary and improvised solutions to issues confronting them, they now had a comprehensive thought and a productive way of thinking, which provided the driving force for all of their actions. And that is important. Before they would fight, they would kill each other, they would do different types of things, because it didn't really matter what is mine, what is mine. And today you see that kind of attitude coming back amongst people again. They will fight, they will kill for anything. There's no purpose in living. They don't know what they're living for. That sense is being lost and eroded when what is happening? The lack of this knowledge of purpose. Why are we here? Why are we existing? But the point is that once one get that position of knowing what they have their life for and what they are going to do with this life that they are blessed with, then they have a purpose in their actions and they work with a force in that direction. You know where you are going. You're going to put all your energies in that direction. Who is going to put all the energies and all their efforts into something that is futile, that is dwindling away, that has no benefit in it? Today you will build some structure and in 10 years time or 3 years time you have to renovate, fix, repair. Don't we all see that happening? You buy a vehicle today, next couple of years you have to do what? Change it because it's also what? Dwindling, it's getting weaker, it's getting older, its parts starting to call for parts, as we would say. And at the end of the day, you realize that these things only serve a purpose. That purpose is for you for only for a limited time. It doesn't last forever. And likewise, Allah has given us also a purpose. A purpose. Why are we here? What are we doing with this purpose in our life? And that is important because that life that we have and is given to us, that life is also dwindling. It is also getting less and less every day that goes by. And we're asking ourselves, what is happening? What is happening with this purpose? What is the purpose really behind the life that we are given? So, indeed, it was this ideological way of thinking that allowed the Muslims to dominate the world arena and undermine the authority of corruption and contemporary superpowers. And it was this that led them to achieve their materialistic as well progress. So they didn't just went through the world, they also had gained power, they had gained everything, the Muslims. But what was their objective? Their objective was living for the life of the hereafter. Living for the paradise, living for the sake and obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They understand that they had a deen, a way of life that brought discipline to them, that they had to follow a particular way and guideline that was shown to them by the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the sunnah. That would transform their lives into success. Today when we talk about sunnah, and you ask, well, what is sunnah? Many a times we can't figure out what is sunnah yet. Sometimes we just boil it down to jubbah and topi or a piece of beer, and we call that what? Sunnah. Sunnah is much more than that. The sunnah goes with the entirety of the Quran being practical. That is what sunnah really is in our lives. Because Aisha radiallahu ta'ala was asked that question. What was the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his life? The Quran, the walking Quran, that was his life, that was his character, that is his sunnah. So he says that this was their strength, the knowledge base that they had, and their purpose built in life was their focus every day. Their success was merely a result of responding to the call of their ideology, knowledge, and discipline. That was founded in the deen. What was their purpose? And sometimes we never stop and think, ponder, ask ourselves, sit down and think for yourself. Just don't continue being a slave of a system every day. You're working, you finish work, you come back home, you're going through a system every day, and years would pass. You finish that, you get old, and you come home and you're trying to figure out still what to do. Some people, they reach this old age and they don't know how to stop, they leave their jobs. They're still going back to the work. They retire and they still can't figure out how to come out of the job system and the scenario because they become what? A machine to a job. Their mentality, they don't know how to sit down or how to, what there is in life after the work. They can't figure out what to do with their life. And that is because that discipline, that ideology of what life was about became their jobs. Sometimes they become their main focus of what they want to achieve in life. Sometimes their ideology is a house, and after they achieve that, they don't know what to do else. Sometimes a piece of property or something they want to achieve in life. After they achieve that, they say, well, what next? What will give them some kind of a purpose in life? things that are what material and for just a small stepping stone. And if we ask ourselves, what is the purpose of life? If it is that these are the small goals of certain life, Muslims, no way. Our objective is that every day is a purpose-built day to achieve the mercy of Allah. To achieve the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, Inna anzalna ilayka bil haqqi li tahkuma bayna nas bima araka Allahu wa la takum lil kha'inina khasima. So he says, surely we have revealed to you the Quran with the truth, so that you may be judged between mankind with insight, and that Allah has given to you, and do not be an advocate for those who breach the trust of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Nisa, Surah 4, verse 105. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do not be like those who will go against it and advocate, someone who will, be encouraging into that direction. Here, the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna anzalna ilayka bil haqq li tahkuma. That we have to use our thinking, our ability to think. Don't just be fooled into thinking, well, this is my success. We read stories and we hear about the companions and we heard about prophets of the past, how they work through the system of recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and recognizing Allah. This is not Allah. Allah is not the sun. Allah is not the moon. Allah is not the sea. Allah is not none of these things. But this Allah is the one who created all of these things. Like this today in our society, many people tell us that there is no God and God does not exist, and that is one of the fastest growing thing in the world today. Atheism. Why can't we think and recognize, is this the truth? Is there no God? As a Muslim, li tahkuma, we should be able to distinguish baina nas, amongst mankind, what it is that is happening amongst us as human beings. Bima arakallahu, from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown unto us, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us as a means to recognize and an insight. Ponder and think. We should use ourselves, our minds, our ability, and think and look at what is happening around us and ask ourselves that these people that exist with these type of disciplines, what they are offering to us and what they are offering to the world, is it of benefit to the entire society and humanity today? Is it all about just a structure? Is it all about just a building? Is it all about just a business? Is it about just the profits that we would make? Is it that's what our existence is about? Insight. Let's look at it. If this is all what we are existing for, is it just for the profits in business? Is it just for the profit that we call ourselves at the age of 50, 60, we have achieved a home, a piece of property, and we have everything that we have, and so we have a little saving in the account, and well, I reach where I'm supposed to reach in life. I accomplish in life. And there are similar people who would accomplish 50 times more than what you have accomplished in life in terms of wealth and material. And there are people who have accomplished absolutely nothing in all their life in terms of material wealth. So what is the accomplishment at the end of it? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لِتَحْكُمَ, so that you should think and look and understand and recognize that all of these people, whether you accomplish nothing in terms of material, whether you accomplish a little bit, or whether you accomplish 10 times more than everybody else, what is the end result of all of these people?
What have you accomplished for the next life?
If they have not accomplished anything for the next life, they have accomplished nothing. And they all have one condition that happens to all of them. They all die. No matter how much you have or how little you have, you're still in the same position at the end. Death is going to come. So it is not a criterion. لِتَحْكُمَ, we should ponder and think about it. Ask ourselves that question. Allah is saying, look at it. And do not be like those people who will advocate and encourage towards wrong. And when we support what happens around us or what goes on around us without thinking, then basically we are part of a system or a way of life that is actually bringing down our what? Our purpose in life. And we do this to our children all the time. We teach them about Profit, prophet, and not about the Prophet. About the prophet. And what is the purpose of life. But we teach them what is profit, money making, how to become rich, how to become successful in life. And that is what life, they think that this is not what life is. It is that one who is successful who follows the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the one who is really successful. And how many of us inculcate that ability and that thought of encouraging our children to follow along the lines of the beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Quran further tells us again, and it states, هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى والدين الحق ليظهر على دين كله ولو كره المشركون. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He is the one who has sent down His messenger with the guidance and faith, which is the truth, and so that He makes it prevail over all other faiths, meaning all other types of faith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says liyudhira, that Allah makes it clear, ala dini kulli, above everything else, every other types of ways and practices. It is not that we are trying to belittle any other religion or anybody practices or ways of life. We are told clearly that you want to live that life, lakum dinukum waliya din. That's your way, that's your practice. We are not saying that you cannot do what you want to do. But what we are saying is that we must think, we must be able to understand and recognize that you choose that way, that is your way, but that is not my way. Liyudhira lidini kulli. We remove all other types of ways and practices. And sometimes we see people accommodating it amongst the Muslims. They're accommodating certain type of practices and say, well, what are we going to do? We live in a modern society and this is what should be done. No. I'm not saying that we cannot be human beings and have morality amongst every race across the broad religion, no matter what we follow. That is a part and a principle of Islam, that we recognize and honor every human being. That is what Islam teaches us. But it doesn't mean that we worship what you worship. Right? For you is your way and for me is my way, and that's a very straightforward principle. But that doesn't mean to say if you are starving, I will not feed you. But that doesn't mean to say if you are thirsty, I will not give you water. That doesn't mean to say if you are homeless, we will not try to find a home for you. It doesn't mean none of those things. That doesn't mean if you are on the road and you have a flat tire, I will not stop and fix your flat tire for you. It doesn't mean that. Because those are core human values that Islam teaches us that we should support each other with. But when it comes to the position of our deen, we are told, لِيُظْهِرَ لِدِينِ kulli, that this Islam clears for us what are our boundaries when it comes to our way of practice in terms of what our Creator wants from us. And that is straightforward. And that does not deprive or take away from anyone else's religion, or it does not make us compromise anybody else's religion. In other words, we're not telling you, well, you see, I am Muslim here today, you have to move this because I want to pray here. We shouldn't be so bold-faced or harsh on people because they have their privileges. We have to find our own grounds and do what we have to do. But we can't push away people's stuff and tell them, no, you can't do this here. They have their right to do what they have to do. So the Quran makes it clear to us that we are the ones to be able to distinguish this, right? It also goes further to tell us that the productive way of thinking for the revival of our society and our ummah is a unique way of thinking that has two important characteristics. Two important things that one must understand while we think as Muslim. What we should really think in. It is based upon the adoption of an ideology. And what is that ideology? Kul in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni. If you love Allah, follow me. That's the first ideology. The thinking of what we should be doing. That is the belief about the life and its purpose, from which emanates a system which comprehensively organizes the affairs of life according to this objective. And that is to believe in Allah and follow His messenger. That's a very straightforward thing. Even in the modern society today, This is a core principle that we should teach our children. Never leave it out. Do not be persuaded into that direction thinking that we cannot do this anymore. No, that's a simple fact and a simple, straightforward way for us to live our lives. That is not something that should be changed. It doesn't mean that you're a fundamentalist, no. It means that you're actually one who actually follows the guidelines of the religion in a way that was shown to us. And people will determine this and put this as a principle and say, well, this is what fundamentalist means. Because you follow every dot, nook, down to the last, you do everything. No, we are Muslims and we have sense and we are considerate and we also know what we do when we live in a society. So, yes, we follow the Quran and the Sunnah, but we do it with that level of measure of what is within our capability in the societies that we live in. Secondly, the acceptance of this ideology is dominant in the society such that people willing to consciously refer to it in every issue and problem that arises in life. This is both whether it is to do with the individual, such as how he should behave and what values he should hold, or it is to do with the society in general, such as how it should organize its government and what should be its policy with other nations and other people that exist around us. So this is important to understand that Islam tells us that we don't just function in a vacuum. We don't have a cult. We're not someone that lives in isolation of other people. Muslims live in societies, whether they are Muslims there or they are non-Muslims there. The fact is that you are Muslim. Our function and our role is to survive with our deen and our Islam in a way that it is depicted and seen as the best of example. The best of example is in Islam. This is how the Sahabas traveled the world and amongst societies that were not Muslims. And we knew of how their approach was and how they did business and how they transact their lives and how their Islam affected the lives of the people that they become people who are willing to submit because they were seeing success compared to what they were facing. Today, we stifle our Islam. We stifle it. We hold it down. We're afraid to what? Live it or show it off to people because we are afraid. In this challenge, when we look at society today, many issues are coming up before us. What do we look at? For example, when we see the roles of men and women in society today, we don't know. We don't know where we fit in as Muslims, what to do, how to figure out this, what we should do and function as a male or a female in society today. What does Islam teach us about these things? How to fulfill our rights in regard to that. When it comes to our dress, what we should do, what we should wear, how we should wear it, where we should wear it. All these different types of issues bug our mind every day. And in society, we are faced with challenges every day amongst the people that we live, but yet we cannot respond comprehensively. And in fact, some of the people who they put to respond for us or on behalf of us really cannot even make a comprehensive or even an accurate response on behalf of the Muslims. Because the media will target people who are what? Almost illiterate of the deen and use them as what? Our main speakers. Now, when we look at our society today, such as how it should organize its government and so on, this is part of Muslims as well. We live in a society. We have a role to play. We have to know how we can work our way around and all of these things because we are part of a society. Do not isolate yourself and say, well, I'm not going to get involved in this. I'm not going to get involved in that. Muslims can't get involved in this. We have to get involved in every aspect of society because Islam never tells us to keep away from it. It is our responsibility and our role, because if we don't, then how can we make and effect changes in our lives and improve Islam and get Islam to be heard amongst everyone in society and of every part of the country, wherever we live. So regarding the Muslims, they shape their individual behavior according to the Quran and Sunnah and refer to all their problems to Allah Almighty and His Messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is This in no way forces any other groups or society or individuals to conform to this ideology. No, we must never let people feel or even get the idea that we are forcing Islam on anybody, because we don't. We don't subscribe to that type of thinking. The way forward for this ummah in terms of knowledge is in solving those problems which face her, meaning the ummah, is not a call for increasing in wealth. See, having more wealth doesn't give us the power to solve the problem, because Muslims have a lot of wealth in the world and still the problem exists. So it doesn't call for what? Wealth at the ummah's disposal, nor a call for increasing the level of technology, because you have many smart Muslim, educated, well-disciplined individuals in society, but the problem amongst the Muslim ummah still didn't solve. Nor is it a call to increase in its level of academic education, because you have a lot of that as well. In fact, most of us will educate our children on the lines of what? Academic education. And they're really educated to a very high level. And they serve in many high positions in different types of jobs in government services, whether it's in the private sector, wherever they might be, they're serving in big positions, they're doing a good job. But the ummah has not resolved the problems that they face till today from these things. So when the Prophet ﷺ brought the revival to the Arabs, he focused on none of these things. When the Prophet ﷺ came, he didn't walk with money in a bag and give everybody and say that all the problem solved. He didn't walk with anything of the nature that people think about. You know, you have to be educated like this, otherwise you won't know anything and you'll not be able to survive. No, he did not bring these things in bags and give them and say you'll be happy. He did not bring these things. For the materialistic things are in themselves of no value in the shaping of a society or the defining of its objectives. See, we have to understand that buildings don't talk, and buildings doesn't tell a human being how to behave. See, all that we have in the world today, even crime and the most heinous immorality behavior amongst people in general is the worst you can ever find. The time will come that people will be so immoral that their actions with males and females will be cohabitating on the streets. Any way you walk, they just behave like animals. You know, they behave worse than the dogs would behave. But yet all these material comforts and all these beautiful things that they would have has not brought and improved in their moral lives and their behaviors. Today they have some of the more bigger thieves in the world today. If these things would have changed that, it didn't do it. So they are merely tools. They are merely tools. All these things they are just tools which can be used for a particular purpose. You have systems derived to run business. You have business, but they are all tools. They are used to make more profits. They are used to generate more of what you want for this life, but not what you must have inside of you. That purpose being decided by the thought and the idea of the people who own the tools. And sometimes people who own tools feel they also own the people who are working for them. You know, that's a sad state. Because, you know, these people don't even have a life. That is how fight has gone. But these things are just tools. They satisfy an objective. They satisfy a mode. They satisfy a particular nafs, a desire. So if the thoughts are absent or unproductive, so too will be the tools. If there is no idea of what to do in life, if you don't understand what to do with the tools, you think you can do anything with it? A man bring a set of tools and pack it up for you here. Say, that is yours. You go ahead and run business now. And you don't have the knowledge of what to do with any of these things. You think you can do anything with it? It makes no difference. It makes no difference in the life of that individual. Because what was supposed to be, there's an idea, an ability. Business is not about what? Just having education and a degree to get a big job or have a big business, you know. It is an idea. It's to be where the know-how and the ability to get something done. That is what it really takes. Not a rocket scientist. And this is what we are saying. What is the idea we have in our minds as Muslims to shape the Ummah today? What do we want for our Muslim community today? What are we doing to shape and make a difference in our community as Muslims? And we're talking about whether it's the alim or not an alim. We're talking about whether it's the imam or not the imam. But what we as Muslims individually will do to shape our society and make our society a better Muslim and a better harmonious society that we live in. So that there is, if you understand what you want to do, then you can do something. But if you're just going along the flow, you know, what them doing the most, well, them do, you know, just let them go along the road. So they'll go along for 30, 40 years of their life, and that person who had no dreams about what is the purpose in life, then everybody in the whole community for 30, 40 years wastes 40 years of life. 100 people in the community supposed to change the community, they depend on one person and the whole community fall on for 40 years. Because nobody realized that this would make a difference. They didn't realize that they get up and do something to make their community and make a difference in their community. But they're waiting for somebody else on top. And they always criticize the person on top because he ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing, but you ain't doing nothing either. But you're criticizing him because he's not doing anything. The difference is what we make it to be. What we make it to be. So accordingly, we see multitudes of young men with PhDs waiting on tables in different parts of the world, like Egypt and all different parts, with billions of pounds worth of natural resources being squandered and plundered in parts of the Muslim world in the Gulf and so on. And vast armies and arsenals and weapons in different parts of the world. Probably today in Turkey and Syria, they are using a lot of it to kill each other though. But that's what they're doing with it. At the end of the day, you know, they use these things for that purpose. Increasing in any of these areas on its own will not achieve anything with it. You'll not go anywhere with it. And we've seen that today, that they have all of these things in that part of the world. They build such big armies, and now they're impoverished. They are starving. Their communities as Yemen, they are the worst off amongst the Muslim countries. They are starving to death, and they're being persecuted and being destroyed by the Arabs today, by Saudi Arabia. Now these things are happening amongst us. It's not something that we say it doesn't exist. It is world news. It is world news. It is happening before our eyes. They have all these things, but what is happening to them? It is destroying them. What they have amassed is only bringing destructions to them. Why? What is lacking? What is lacking? We're not being critical about them. We are all part and one. We are an ummah. We are part of a society of Muslims that we all should learn an idea and contribute towards what will be beneficial to the Muslims in the entire world. Maybe something we in this small part of the world might do that may be good, that could make a change and a difference in the rest of the part of the world. But what it is that all of these things we are seeing has no benefit to the ummah. The more we guard arms, it didn't do anything. It didn't make a difference in the world. It didn't make a difference in the world. And I could say if we want to gather more of it, it still wouldn't make a difference. Because Allah has shown us that after 1400 years, all you're working on is gathering arms and building buildings. How has it benefited the ummah? How has the ummah benefited from your effort in building these things and doing these things? I'm not saying that they have not done any good to any part of the world. They did give charity, they did do these things. But generally, how have the Muslims benefited and grown and developed themselves as a force or a nation of people, a society that can be seen that we are one who are recognized as being good, as Allah has made us good. So in fact, this futile race for materialistic change is encouraged by the West and their agents in the Islamic lands. We know that because they sell them all these things. Equip all yourselves with all these things. And after they equip themselves with everything, then they come and say, you have so much ammunition, we have to destroy all that. You shouldn't have so much. No way. That's real intelligence. High level of intelligence. For they hope this will act as a diversion for the ummah from carrying out our true task, which is intellectual change. The knowledge, we take it and put it behind material things and think that material change will make a difference. No. Yes, people build tall buildings. They build sort of things to say, well, we have it. We have it. So people will become attracted to it. But that's a deception. That's a deception. Don't be fooled by buildings. As you always hear people say, don't be fooled by this or don't be fooled by that, because they know that these things are just what flashes of diversion. The real thing, as we would say, wolf in sheep clothing, they are really there to devour us. They attract you towards a direction of destruction. And that's why intellectual knowledge of the Ummah today is at its weakest link in our survival. When we do not have the understanding of what we are and who we are and where we are going, then who are we? Who are we as Muslims? What are we? What are we doing? What are we supposed to be doing? So here, it's important for us to understand that the way for this revival, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma bi qawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah will not change the condition of a people unless they what? Change the condition of themselves. If our condition is that we want it to be like whom? Seeing success in these type of things, then we see what the success is. What is success in it? We have been beaten, brutalized, humiliated. And not until we change that, we will really be changing our lives. And this is not being critical of each and every one of us here, but it's to understand the dreadful nature of the weakness of the lack of knowledge in our society as what we have to be doing as Muslims generally. It's not that we are not praying our salah. It is not that we are not doing the rites or the rituals of Islam. But what is required is a greater intellectual ability to enhance our communities rather than just become ritualistic. When I come to mosque every day, ritually 5 times a day. But yet in that same community, we have young men using drugs. And I couldn't do anything about it. And there are other people in our society, our young women, who have also been humiliated and destroyed as well. But I am praying 5 times a day. Forget them. Them father and mother are taking care of them. That's what we would say. That's how we're going to live. That's how we change our community. That's how we encourage, good life. This is what Islam teaches us? No. We have to do something. We have to. So, as Muslims, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us we have to make a difference. Not nafsi. Long as my family okay, I okay. Well, everything good. But it's not that. We have to encourage our society and our communities to change that mental thinking. Whether he do or you do, or criticize one another, who doing and who not doing, that's not what we're existing for. There are bigger problems amongst us and more danger that exists around us that needs to be treated rather than the petty issues that we look over and guard our life over. So indeed, the way forward is to fundamentally change the way of thinking of the Muslims such that they understand that their deen, their Islam, is an ideology, a way of life, which will define their objectives and which they will refer to all aspects of their life. Do we use it as a criterion? Do we use our Islam as a criterion every day that we live to tell us, this is what I want to do? Am I pleasing my Lord? Am I doing the things that I should do as a Muslim? Seeing somebody starving, subhanallah. You see a person, he says the only thing he likes to do, the only thing he loves to do. He said, and I was amazed and shocked that this person, he's a non-Muslim, and he come to me and he tell me, look, he said his work, take his salary and look for people who poor and give them it. Help them. Help anybody just to see a smile on the face. And he okay for no big money, but this is where he's doing the time. This is amazing. That I said, this is what Muslims are supposed to be doing. These are things that Muslims are supposed to be doing with their life. And that's one thing. Charity is one of the founding pillars of our deen, sadaqah. Anfiku mimma razaqnakum. That we should spend from what Allah has provided us with. Spend way. On what? On who? See, the weakness of the ummah is on these things. So when the Muslims have done this, the Islamic ummah can use all the assets it has to propel the society of Muslims in the correct station as leading nation in the world, as the leading nation, progressive more than any other in justice, technology, education, and in all other materialistic achievements as well. All of it will come in hand. But the most important thing is what? The Quran and the Sunnah. If that objective and that mindset is not there, then all the other things that we are doing is so what? Why have you become a doctor? Why have you become a judge? Why have you become a lawyer? Why have you become an engineer? Why? For what purpose? What of that you can give to serve your ummah, your deen, as a Muslim? This is the core after. Not that you say not to study those things. We are saying why? What is your objective of doing all of these things? At the end of the day, and whether you do these things or not, and you're just an ordinary human being who has a simple little job, my job is to cut grass by the side of the road, what am I doing as well with my life for deen? We all have to ask ourselves that. And in this respect, with this, all of these will come when Muslims understand the greatest wealth of a nation could hope to have is not the material wealth, but the intellectual wealth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, رَبَّنَا وَجَعَلْنَا مُسْلِمِينَ لَكَ مِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِنَا أُمَّةً مُسْلِمَةً لَكَ وَأَرِنَا مَنَاسِكَنَا وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ تَوَّابُ Rahim. The Quran tells us, our Lord, when Ibrahim made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what was his dua? Oh Lord, make us amongst, make my progeny, make everyone amongst the ones who will submit to Allah, Muslims, to you, O Allah. وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِنَا, and from my progeny, let there be ones who will submit to you. Who will submit to you. وَأَرِنَا, and soften, O Allah, make it easy for us. Arina, manasikana. Make our manasik, our way, easy for us. وَتُبُ عَلَيْنَا, and we turn towards you and seek your forgiveness. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ تَوَّابُ رَحِيمًا, and you are most forgiving and most merciful. What is the idea? What is the objective of this? Is that from the time your child born, from the time you have a child, you have a family, you have a unit, you have a community, you have a new Muslim in your community, a baby, the masjid, the community, targets that child to make sure that that child grow up to be a good child, an obedient child. That child is not just the child for this what? Mother and father alone, He belongs to this community. We have to make sure that this child shines, that this child has some benefit to us. But it hurts us to know that some of our young men, they are in prison, that some of our young men, they are committing crime, that some of our young men, they are involved in drugs and in all of these things. Does not hurt us? And my dear brothers and sisters, these are the things that we have to ponder and really recognize, that there needs to be a change in our thinking and where we have to really go. Because if we sit down here and think to ourselves that I am doing something, and it does not involve that collective understanding, then we are going to lose out. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Dua. اللهم آمين اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام ربنا إننا آمنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وقنا عذاب النار صل على نبي محمد مصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
حور العين تناديني فدعيني أماه دعيني لتبكي دموعك يا أمي عن دربي لا لن تثني أماه طريقي قد وضحى والقلب يسير به فرحا حرب وجهاد متقد ودم بالعزة قد نضحا حور العين تناديني فدعيني